promises the next step. How many times have we heard that, David? David Costa joining us right now here from Dean of Robert Kennedy College, live from Zurich. Good to have you, David. Good morning. I wonder about the environment right now, because I get the feeling that the bond market is still not satisfied after Euro Summit, Eurogroup meeting, the announcement even from Spain yesterday. What do you make of it?
Good morning, Patricia. Well, I think the disappointing data is really from the banking side. We see almost a semi-paralysis of the banking sector because interbank lending, which at 0% of a certain increase, did not increase. And that is certainly a very big sign that the ECB action did not really have an effect that they intended to have. So I also see that all this summit will not reach something that the market is expecting at the moment. So I see the banking situation as really the signal that more has to be done, and pretty quickly.
Now, I wonder about that, because you were talking about the banks basically depositing more money, even though we saw all these liquidity efforts, also cutting rates from the ECB. Plus, as well, yesterday I came across a figure of the 7-day US dollar swap operations also hitting a high we haven't seen since January the 26th, I think. So I wonder, are you seeing a liquidity crunch here?
Well, potentially we may have a liquidity crash, because if banking don't even lend to each other, it is almost unthinkable that we start lending to businesses. And without a strong business lending, we will not see any growth in Europe, and actually a much deeper recession. So I really see that there could be a liquidity crisis if there isn't more intervention, if there isn't something sustainable from the politician which really sends a signal that the crisis has been taken seriously, and not just this sort of patchy approach like the ECB latest move, which didn't have really the effect they expected.
Yeah, David, good to see you. Ultimately, this cut in deposit rates by the ECB was supposed to gel the flows in the interbank lending market, but that hasn't happened, at least based on the latest data we have. Then ultimately, what does the ECB need to do? Are we talking about 3-year LTROs, 5-year LTROs, and how soon do they need to appear?
Well, it needs to be more intervention, clearly. There isn't many weapons that the ECB has actually at their disposal. So the action should be not just from the ECB, but actually from the governments, like also Draghi has said that the governments have to be more brave. But I think austerity only, like what is happening in Spain, is hardly the right answer, because we will not see an increase in austerity measure, including VAT, to result in higher growth. So the action has really to be European-wide, not only from the ECB, but mostly from governments, to send a strong signal that they are behind all this.
They're behind all this, David, but with more leverage. So they're going to get even more indebted, which then needs to be sorted out in the long run as well. And then we more or less move to where America is already at, even though the market continues to ignore that.
Well, absolutely. There is, of course, this sentiment to say we need to reduce debt now, otherwise we're just kicking the can down the road. But to some degree, some of the action has to be taken as a priority now, which is reigniting growth and being sure also that unemployment doesn't increase, because an increase in unemployment, that would certainly have very negative effect and will not give the chance to the European government to collect more taxes, obviously. So I see that there has to be some sort of prioritization, and perhaps together with all this austerity, has to be a clear agenda of monetary injection and really a pro-growth policy.
Okay, David, thanks very much. Always great to have you with your strong words. David Costa joining us live there from Zurich. And the LIBOR fixing scandal appears to have